Hey, what's happening? It's Paul Ingram with Kali Center. Today's training, I'm covering 3 types of strikes that you need to have down in your Filipino martial arts, in your Kali, your arnis practice and skills. Make sure you have a training bolo and or a Kali stick for today's training. Let's kick right on into it. Our first type of strike, the most basic kind, is our cuts, or also known as our slashes. And when it comes to our slashes, we can slash, cut on multiple different angles. We can come down on our diagonals, we can come up on our diagonals, we can cut on the horizontal lines, and we can cut on the vertical lines, whether we're coming down or up. And I want you to play around with the different angles, but just kind of freelance carenza on the slash type of strike. Now we're pulling with these slashes. And so we're pulling this. There's an arc that is going on, and we're pulling the weapon all the way through the arc on these slashes. So just kind of move around. You can play around on the diagonals, on the horizontals, and on the verticals right here. And you can play around with different energies. It's all good. Our broken energies, our circular energies, our fluid energy. Okay, and these are all of our cuts, basic cuts. You want to get more advanced? You can put it in your dobletes. You can put it in your floretes. Or keep it simple, nice and easy. And work those basics. Our next type of strikes is our chops. Now these are very similar to the cuts. We're using the edge, but it's a little bit different. In our slashes, in our cuts, we pull the strikes through the arcs. In our chops, we punch the weapon and we punch the edge into the target. So we can chop on the 1, we can chop on the 2, we can chop on the 3, we can chop on the 4, we can chop on the horizontals, we can chop on the verticals, and we're punching the weapon into the target. So we're not really going to have this kind of fluid type of motion like what we're going to get in our cuts and our slashes. The chop is very, like it says, choppy, buff, buff, but you can fire off multiple shots, very powerful, very quickly. So again, you're still gonna work on the same types of angles, your diagonals, your horizontals, and your verticals. So just freelance it for now, working through those different angles. If you wanna know our numbering system, I'll put a video right up here, whichever corner, and you can go check out our avocado form, which is our 10 count, covers our basic angles that we teach at the beginner level. And you basically take the chops and you work them on all of those angles right there, okay? So I'll take a few minutes now and work some chops. And the third top type of strike that you need to have in your Kali arsenal is, of course, thrusts. Thrusts are so devastating. They take the opponent down very, very quickly. And our basic thrust, we can thrust to the center line, we can thrust on the backhand, or we can thrust on the forehand. And you can thrust high, you can thrust middle, you can thrust low. All right, high to the face, neck, middle to the shoulder, lungs, low to the hip, groin. Okay, that's our thrust there. You could thrust down to the knee if you're that good, but usually, you know, we want to go for a little bit more mass or something more deadly like the face. So now just work it out and start firing your thrusts. Now you can go into your fluid thrusts, you can go into your broken thrusts and play around with them and have some fun and just start poking around. I went ahead and switched out to my stick. For those of you who may not have a training bolo, I don't want you to be discouraged thinking you can't train this stuff because you don't have a training bolo. If you need a training bolo, head over to KaliCenter.com and go check out our store. You can grab one right on over there, or pick up a pair of sticks if you need some sticks. Now what we want to do is we want to take these 3 types of strikes, our cuts, our chops, and our thrusts, And we want to start to freelance this into a drill that's called Kurenza or Saya. Saya means to dance. Okay, so sometimes I get those comments, this ain't fighting, this is dancing. Whatever, dude, like, you never danced before. Fucking hard. But anyways, let's start blending this stuff together. We can go into our cuts, into the chops, and into our thrusts. And from our thrusts, right, we can recover this with a slash. You can thrust into the chop, pop the thrust, and you get to explore and play around with working these different combinations. You want to get more advanced? Put in some floretes, put in some dobletes, put in some watiques, some abanicos, put in some back of the blade strikes. Okay? But they all follow the same three principles of cut, chop, and thrust. If you want to get more specific in your training with me, with Kali Center, I have a link down below that'll take you over to my Kali classes. You can join those. It's just $3 a month or $30 for the entire year, and you get access to our entire Kali class library where I've covered each one of these strikes, all the coordination drills, the calibration drills, how to apply these with footwork, and across different areas of Kali. So we're working the single sword stick, we're working the double, we're working the spadiataga, empty hands, the kicking, the staff, we're working every area of Kali in those follow along Kali classes for just $3 a month, or you can get the good deal at $30 a year, which comes to like $250 a month, so pretty sweet. Hit that link down below, check it out, join today, start training right away, and I'll see you in your first Kali class.